Welcome to episode 136 of Bright Spot, exploring the bright spot in India's export performance. Today on Bright Spot, we'll be diving into India's recent export performance and what this means for India's global standing. First and foremost, let's look at the numbers. In FY22-23, India's merchandise exports rose 6% to an impressive $447 billion, buoyed by outbound shipments of petroleum, pharma, chemicals and marine goods. Imports grew by 16.5% to $714 billion. This has led to a record trade deficit in goods of $266.78 billion, though the overall trade deficit was far more moderate at $122 billion due to a trade surplus in services. But more on that later. Moreover, overall exports, including services, saw a 13.84% increase to an impressive $770 billion, while overall imports jumped 17.38% to a new high of $892 billion. Now, it's worth noting that India's exports recorded growth despite recessionary conditions worldwide. So, that's where the bright spot comes in. We're seeing India emerge as a global bright spot and taking the lead in export performance across a number of sectors, including services. But what really makes these numbers stand out is the fact that India's share of Chinese imports decreased even as imports from India's other main trade partners such as Russia rose by 370%. This speaks volumes to India's competitive advantage and the success of its current policies to reduce dependence on China and diversify not just its imports but also its exports. Another important factor to note here is that out of the 30 major export sectors, 17 of them saw growth in the last financial year. Additionally, 17 principal commodities saw a higher increase in volume compared to the increase in export value in April to February FY23 on year. This is especially interesting when you consider the fact that many of these sectors are export-oriented and are seeing increasing global demand, particularly in the electronics and machinery sector. According to Commerce Secretary Sunil Barthwal, we have surpassed our target of $750 billion by almost $20 billion. The growth is significant as there were recessionary conditions elsewhere. So, in conclusion, India certainly is offering a bright spot in terms of its export performance. Between increased volume in key sectors of electronics and machinery, a diversification of imports and exports and a trade surplus in services, India is now well positioned to take a leading role in the global economy. That's all for today on Bright Spot. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more.